Noreen and welcome to my kitchen and a new episode of What's for Dinner. Tonight we're going to be making chicken and dumplings. This is very simple, top of the stove cooking, and it's very easy for a tired Sunday night dinner. We're going to start off by making the base, which is actually the chicken and the stock and the veggies, and then we'll move on and we'll make the dumpling mixture in just a little while. In order to get started, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to saute some onion, carrot, and celery in some butter that I have melting on the stove right now. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add chicken tenders, which I have taken out of my freezer and thawed out, 4 cups of chicken stock, and then several different seasonings. I have a teaspoon each of poultry seasoning, onion powder, garlic powder, celery seed, and 2 teaspoons of chopped parsley. And this is dry parsley because that's what I have on hand. And then we're just going to go ahead and go over to the stove and get started. I have 2 tablespoons of butter that I've just melted in my large deep skillet, and we're going to dump all of these vegetables right on in there. That's how hard that is. The hardest part is prepping your veggies. We're going to mix up our dumplings now, and I basically use a variation of my buttermilk biscuit recipe for my dumplings. So that's where, you know, I make a few small changes. The first being I cut it in half. So we're starting out with 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and we're adding 1 tablespoon of baking powder, not baking soda. And then what we're going to do is we're going to give that a stir. I'm not adding any salt to this because I'm using 6 tablespoons of salted butter. Thank you. And what we're going to do is I'm going to break those up just ever so slightly. I've cut them into tiny little cubes, so it's just a little bit easier for me to cut that in there. And I'm going to take my, I'm going to also put about a tablespoon of dried parsley. That's optional. You don't have to do that. It's up to you. It's just that where I come from, these biscuit style dumplings usually always have parsley in them. And now I'm just going to use my pastry cutter. I'm going to cut that butter into the flour.
Blender.
Pastry blender, did I say cutter? Well, either way. And that's good enough. Now we're going to use I'm going to start with about a cup of buttermilk. I'm just going to use my fork. We also want this a little on the wet side. We don't want it to be like when we make roll-out biscuits. We want it to be like drop biscuits. So I'm going to go ahead and add about another half a cup.
I can't stop yawning.
And we're there. And the amount of liquid that you need to add is going to vary depending on where you live, how humid it is, how hot it is, how cold it is, how dry your flour is. So all of those things will come into play. This is perfect for me right now, so this is kind of a play it by ear thing. We're going to set those aside, and then we're going to go back and we're going to check our veggies, and we're going to move forward with getting our dinner ready. Our veggies have softened a bit, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our chicken tenders. And I just have them laying on this plate with a paper towel, only because when you thaw them out and have to take them out of that bag, sometimes they're very, very wet, and I don't want to add that much moisture in here. I want my moisture to come from my stock. I'm just going to get these down in the pan, okay, and then I'm going to add my stock right on top. And we're going to put the lid on it. We're going to let that simmer until the chicken is cooked through. That should take about 10 minutes. And then we'll come back, we'll add a little Wonder flour, and we'll dip our dumplings in there, and we'll have dinner in no time. Ready to move on. Our chicken is cooked. And now we're going to want to thicken up this sauce a little. And we're going to do that by adding my friend in the kitchen, Wonder flour. I'm going to start out with about 2 tablespoons, and I'm going to get it in there. And it's going to tighten up that gravy just a little bit. And it cooks very quickly because it is granulated, and you can see it's already starting to thicken. I love this. I much prefer Wonder flour to cornstarch and water. Or you can, if you don't have Wonder, don't worry. You can just use a couple of tablespoons of regular all-purpose flour. Throw it in a jar with some cold water and shake it up, and then make yourself a little slurry, and then just pour it in there and get your sauce a little bit tighter. But all I'm doing is dropping my dumpling mixture. These are scoops full. These are 2 tablespoon size scoops. And these are going to puff up and get beautiful. I'm going to pop my lid back on this. I'm going to keep it at a low simmer. We're going to keep it there for about 10 minutes. We'll come back and check it, and then we'll fix you a plate of super easy, delicious chicken and dumplings. These have been cooking for about 15 minutes. I know I told you 10. I checked it after 10 and they weren't quite done yet. This is simmering away. These dumplings are perfect. And so that means it's time to fix you a plate. So let's... That is how you make chicken and dumplings. Super easy. On top of your stove with just a few simple ingredients. Basic carrot, celery, onion, a little bit of broth, some chicken, some seasonings of your choice, and a little bit of flour and some buttermilk, or you can just use plain milk. It doesn't have to be buttermilk. You use what you love, what you have on hand. If you have evaporated milk on hand, you go ahead and use that. It'll be fine. And these are going to be delicious, and you're going to love them. I hope you try these, and I hope you love them. I thank you so much for stopping by my kitchen today. I always love it when you come by and visit. And until next time, I'll see ya.